important factor is the business scope. The general business scope in China, whether in a free trade zone or domestic China, needs to be detailed and it has to be approved by the authorities. In Hong Kong, in comparison, the business scope can be extremely vague, and the most common business scope for trading companies is simply import and export. Another key point is the registered address. Unlike most jurisdictions, incorporation in China requires entities to have a physical office as its registered place of business. A Hong Kong company must have a registered office address in Hong Kong, but unlike in China, a virtual office is permissible. A third important topic is the ownership and registered capital. In China, registered capital refers to the shareholders' contribution into the limited company as working capital. It is suggested setting a realistic amount based on the cash flow needs of the company. Every company in Hong Kong, on the other hand, can be incorporated with an issued capital of $1 Hong Kong. The key differential here is that the working capital can be brought into Hong Kong as a loan, whereas in China it must be recorded as registered capital. When it comes to the corporate structure, you should be aware that there are 5 key positions that need to be appointed in the China company. The first one is the shareholder, which has the highest authority of power. The second one is the board of directors or executive director, who set the agenda of the company operations. The third one is the legal representative, who holds all power within an entity in China. The fourth one is the general manager, whose role is to perform the day-to-day operations. And finally, the supervisor, who supervises the execution of the company duties. Every Hong Kong company must have at least one shareholder, one director, and a designated company secretary. Another key important point is the bank accounts. Each China limited company will be required to establish 3 accounts: a capital account, a settlement account, and a tax account. Although it is believed to be a very bureaucratic procedure, it is actually just a matter of paperwork. On the other hand, in Hong Kong, trying to open a bank account for SMEs has become an obstacle in terms of due diligence requirements by the bank. It takes between 1 to 4 months to open an account, and occasionally the banks refuse altogether to open an account, depending on the planned activities within the company. Another consideration is the duration for incorporation. It takes approximately 4 to 6 months to set up a China company. Meanwhile, the registration of a limited liability company in Hong Kong only takes 7 to 9 working days. A final key factor is accounting and tax compliance. Limited liability companies in China are required to comply with China taxation and compliance regulation on its bookkeeping, accounting, and tax filing activities. The financial year in China runs corresponding to the calendar year, and it is mandatory for accounts to be filed monthly and taxes declared and paid on monthly and quarterly basis. In contrast, a Hong Kong company can choose its own fiscal year, and it is only required to prepare and audit its management accounts annually. Assuming a company does not buy property in Hong Kong, it will only be affected by profit tax, which rate is 16.5% compared to 25% in China. However, if the company has an offshore business, it can apply for corporate profits tax exemption.